All right, he wouldn't respond back to my DM, so I had to trap him in the media room to do an interview. I'm chatting with Golden Guardians Solo after a hell of a game against Dignitas. Didn't go quite his way this time. Talk to me about this game because they aced, and then you aced, and then Baron, and then they Baron, and they stole it. Like, that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty fiesta game. I mean, I thought they did all right, and we made some mistakes early, but we definitely hard through that game. I think that in most cases we'll probably win that game, so it's kind of unfortunate, especially since we need the wins because we're trying to make playoffs. But I don't know. It's better to be in a position to win than to just get stomped out. So I guess it's something to learn from.
Yeah, well, it feels like since you've joined, you've been in many more positions to get victories, and it's just been close. What have those conversations been like with the team, and like the difference now between that?
Yeah, I mean, it's typical. I mean, it kind of makes sense because you don't really get put in those tight situations around Baron or late game when you're scrimming. Like, it's very rare. So, a lot of the times it's these are the only points of the game to get the practice. So of course people are gonna make mistakes and you're gonna lose games, which is kind of unfortunate, but they're not gonna be able to learn unless they kind of make mistakes as we've kind of done in some of the games. But hopefully, by the end of the split, we won't be able, or we'll be able to close out those games and we'll be a better team, because that's kind of the difference maker between being a bottom team and at least a middle of the pack team, is being able to win the games you're supposed to win.
For sure. You have been a second half hire multiple times in your career now, in terms of the splits and then coming on in the summer. This is the first time you've come into a team that came in last place, and you and the rest of the squad have been able to elevate your game there. What is your goal this time, joining a squad that has different aspirations than, let's say, FlyQuest, where you joined and they were in a second place near the top of the table kind of position?
Yeah, it's definitely different. A lot of the focus I knew coming in was just going to be developing the younger players. And that's kind of where I've tried to help the most. But, I still think that, we're a pretty good team and we can make playoffs. And I think just the way the format is in playoffs, we can win a round or two. I don't think any of the teams outside of 100 Thieves and C9 are, all that insane. I mean, TSM's also pretty good too. But, there's 6 or 7 other teams that are kind of on our level, or we could probably reach their level. So, developing the guys is kind of the goal, but I think we can actually win some games.
Who do you think you've helped develop the most?
I mean, I think they're all I don't want to take credit for anyone's development. I think that I feel like all of us probably grown the most out of the players. I think that especially on stage, he's played the most loose and kind of more like a vet. He doesn't really get caught up too much in the moments. He doesn't really make any really big blunders. So I think all of us probably progressed the best out of all of them. But I think which kind of makes sense because he played Academy a little bit longer than the other guys. But I mean, yeah, he's probably done the best. And then the other ones I think have grown a lot as well.
How have you grown on this squad? Was this something that you knew was in you, to be a kind of a teacher of men, a shepherd of teammates?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was always capable of doing this stuff. I mean, it's kind of a challenge in its own ways. You kind of have to skirt the line between being direct and, giving good feedback and maybe being harsh at times, and also not just blowing them out because they're young and they're rookies and they don't understand a lot of stuff. So that's been the challenge, is just figuring out where I need to pressure them, or where I need to make sure they understand, and where I can just be okay, he's just a rookie, he's got to get time. This isn't going to be solved by me telling him what to do. He just has to understand it on its own over time.
Gotcha. Yeah, the difference between good cop solo and bad boy solo. That is he was formerly known for. That's the past. That's the old solo. New solo now here to help the next generation of League of Legends gamers, the Golden Gamers.
Of course.
When you take a look at this squad and in terms of playoffs, you guys are one game out of playoffs because FlyQuest and CLG have been having their own personal struggles here in this summer split. What is the strength of this team in your opinion? Currently sitting at 5-9 and almost reaching the win total they had beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have like a little bit of our strengths. I mean, I don't think that we're as cut and dry as, FlyQuest was last year, where it was really obvious what we were good at. I think this team is, I feel like our macro is actually pretty well after the early game, after the first 15 or 20 minutes. I feel like our macro is actually starting to get really good. It feels pretty clean. I think just like any young team, we just make, kind of blunders or foolish mistakes in the game that sometimes cost us a lot. And, as well as being a younger team, like it's a little bit hard to find your like real identity because, people don't really know what players they're going to be yet. Mm-hmm. So, I've played long enough that I know what I'm about. I know what I'm going to be good at. I know how I want to play. But, Chime or Ethan, they kind of just started and they might not know like what their style is going to be or where they're the most comfortable. So that's a big thing about the season is kind of just figuring out the player they want to be moving forward.
You've grinded for a while in terms of the league, in terms of the professional scene, even in your time over at Goldcoin United. You've been a grinder of the game. What is success for you now at this point of your career?
I mean, I think that, obviously I want to win championships and stuff still. But I think just the longevity of it will probably be the most successful thing. I mean, winning an actual championship would be super awesome. And, that's something I do want to achieve at some point. But getting as close as I did last year and obviously going to Worlds, I don't know. I mean, it was fulfilling in some ways, but it wasn't like all I thought it would be. I think that for me, just being involved in the scene for as long as possible is probably going to be the most rewarding thing. Because every time I'm not involved, it's like, obviously feels like a whole part of my life is like missing.
Sure.
So the longevity of it is probably going to be most important, whether that be playing for X amount of years or becoming a coach in some capacity after I retire. But, I want to play for another like 10 years or something. Like, I mean, if it's me, I mean, I still feel like I'm learning a lot about the game. I still feel like I'm adapting my play style a lot. So, yeah, I like to play as long as possible if that's really what it is for me.
Well, we saw how you transformed FlyQuest last year. We saw how you've transformed this Golden Guardian squad this split after the first split. And so I think if you keep having performances like that, work will still find a way to you. Thanks, man, for the time for this chat, man. And I wish you nothing but the best, dude.
Hey, thanks, man.